Welcome back, ladies and gents. Furia NRG in our next and final best of one of today's proceedings. After this, it's going to be all best of threes throughout the rest of Dallas. I'm Vince, once again joined by Dust. We're going to be jumping into this one very shortly on Overpass. Dust, any thoughts, any feelings before we do dive right into the action here?
Should be a banger for head-to-head, man. I mean, both these teams are, playing near the top of the Americas region in different online qualifiers and pro leagues and things of that nature. They recently met in the ECS just a couple of months ago, and NRG won that series 2-1. And when they played Overpass in that series, it was a double overtime game where both teams had pretty equal success on each half. So if that were to repeat itself, we should have quite a game on our hands.
Yeah, certainly shaping up to be just that. And I think this is the game, other than Nip and Tyloo, that really caught our eye coming into today, thinking, oh, okay, we've actually got quite the game on our hands here. I mean, on the side of Furia, you have one of the most hyped Brazilians in CORSAIR, a really up-and-comer that many people think could be the next big thing from Brazil.
I'm going to go ahead and say it now, Vince. I think Yuri's more impressive. I think Yuri is a fantastic entry fragger. I think he's actually outperformed CORSAIR a lot lately. I think you're spot on. CORSAIR certainly is a strong individual player, a very flexible rifler. But Yuri, just because he plays a more difficult role and at times has put up bigger numbers, like he was fantastic at DreamHack Rio where they made the finals. And has been great in all their other competition as well. So I think they have a great combination of players. Art, a pretty good fragging in-game leader, very impactful. Even if he doesn't get the numbers, he's very good at creating space. He's like Fur, but with an op. Like he's very headstrong, very aggressive, very hard to deal with. He definitely has that Fur-like mentality about him. So a lot of heavy hitters on that team, and they've been very successful as of late in different qualifiers. They've been qualifying for almost all the big events over some of the middle of the pack Americas teams that compete in the pro league. So they're definitely moving up the totem pole in the Americas. And the NRG just brought on Tarek and have had a couple of top 4 finishes at Summit and at Sydney. Also made the finals of EPL in pretty convincing fashion and made a top 4 at Starlighter, their debut event with Tarek. So they have also been quite strong so far with this lineup.
I do really think it's going to be a clash of two titans here. I think it's going to be a very, very close one. As you say, the history also backs that up statistically. But it's going to be Furia starting things off on the CT side, with Vinny taking a peek down into short B. Quite aggressive. Has spotted Ethan. Just sees the kneecap protruding through the short pipe. Art, in the meanwhile, going to have a chunk of T's forcing their way upon him. Does do a lot of damage, though, on his retreat, to be fair, and maintains all of his health. So a decent little bit of an exchange and information gathered, but with so much time left, Furia can't take anything for granted.
A little bit of an exchange down. Monster as well knocks Ethan down a couple of pegs. But looks like NRG are wasting no time now, spilling into the B-bomb side, up short and long simultaneously, all on Yuri on the pillar, but he's so blind.
The player said to watch out for, and he's able to get the one. Is that going to be enough for the rest of his team to pivot off? Yes, it is. Art's gone in with 2. Could be in for more, actually, because Cirque is now stuck on the wrong side of the bomb. The bomb's gone dropped into the water. And try as he may, the Bulgarian can't get it done. And Furia will claim the first round.
Very impressive stuff there for Furia. Key kill for Yuri to get the time, but Art's the one who delivered the bulk of those frags. A hat trick for him. NRG will take a full save here. No, even upgraded pistols being bought. Even though they didn't get a first round bomb plant. This is really conservative.
Something you see too often, for sure, but I have to see what NRG pull out the bag in the next round. Bit of a derpy nade from Able J. Not too much of an issue, though, because B's not being aggressed on. But yeah, I mean, with Glocks and nothing, not even a flashbang, you can't expect anything out of this round. I mean, 1 kill would be a massive success, never mind a bomb plant.
Yeah, there's just nothing to hope for here for NRG. I mean, you're just kind of dancing around with Glocks and just hoping for something crazy to happen, but the reality is that Furia should be mopping this up, and with all these SMGs in play, they should also be printing some extra cash with that SMG bonus. This should be just kind of easy pickings for Furia. It's a weirdly slow round as well for 5 Glocks and no utility.
Yeah, it's not the most entertaining stuff, is it? And you know that the payoff is likely just going to be a shutter in the face.
Yeah.
And here we go. The inevitable has descended upon us. And what a surprise. It's a complete massacre. Who would have guessed?
You sound thoroughly shocked, Vince.
I am massively shocked. But because of their conservative nature, they've got them.
Yeah. Indeed, and this is actually one of the maps where Tarek is actually really, really active. On some of the others, he's kind of had to take Fugly's old roles on the edges of the map. But here, he'll definitely be the one really trying to control A with Breezy and Cirque, while Daps plays connector, and Ethan typically plays outside B. Ethan, though, doesn't really lurk outside B very long. He typically will join the rest of his team either by going connector or by joining them at A. And you'll see that happen right here, right now. He doesn't even go B at all, really. 4 focused on playground, Daps solo connector. So quickly from a default to a very heavy-handed approach towards the A bomb site. Still the SMGs in play though for Furia, so they're not able to take the more aggressive angles or poke and prod with the AWP. They have to kind of sit back a little bit. So there is a chance for NRG to be able to punish that.
And the bonus round as it's called, and they are certainly, I don't want to say being greedy with this, because if you invest some rifles and end up losing, it doesn't give you a great deal to fall back on. But they're definitely second best in terms of firepower. There's no two ways about it. They still have some grenades at their disposal, though. Flashbang towards short, not going to yield a peek from Yuri. He's going to back away instead. Slow again from NRG. They're taking this one very, very cautiously.
They're just burning all Furia's utility out. That way the execute can be a little bit better later on, as well as maybe not have to deal with as much on a retake. And another big part of it is just making sure there's no one holding kind of a weird up-close corner that can possibly ruin things. So I think the approach here is fine. The problem is that AbleJ and Vinny have short B control. They can quickly flank through connector, and NRG could get sandwiched. They have to be very careful about that.
They're taking a sweet time as well. Only 24 seconds remaining. They're going to have to get some entries in. That's a bit of a whiff. CORSAIR should have got that kill down to 1 HP. This is the downside of using SMGs. It doesn't pack the same pinch. And now Furia, they're in quite the predicament. I mean, realistically, AbleJ, what does he do? Sit on long, hope that someone pushes him for an exit frag and convert to an AK?
Yes.
The round's done, though. Like, it's over.
But I think you've nailed the decision. You know, that's all he really can do. And it's not going to happen. Yeah. So, very clean round for NRG. They took some damage, but didn't lose a single player, so that means they get to only worry about rebuying utility. Cirque, a very capable rifler, so don't have to get the AWP. Now, the other thing that NRG likes to do other than default is Ethan and Tarek love to get short B control early, and they can kind of use that as something similar to a mid control on other maps to kind of set things up, so you might see that happen as well on top of what you saw last round. And indeed, I think that is what's going to happen here. You do see Ethan and Cirque traveling together short B, Tarek backing them up. And they have indeed pried their way in. Could be a boost, though, to contest it.
There is the boost. Cirque has been found wanting. Vinny will capitalize. Flashbang out from AbleJ. Gonna stymie the push from Tarek, but he's already backing away anyway. And you feel like NRG at some stage, obviously it's still early days, don't get me wrong, but at some stage they may need to speed things up a little bit because it seems like Furia are getting a good read on them.
I will say this, NRG with Dats as the in-game leader has always been known to be a very default-heavy team, but I will say, over the course of this year, in particular when Tarek joined the team, they have definitely started to favor more of the faster-paced plays. So I think you will indeed see that start to come out more towards the middle of the half. I think right now it's just about getting comfortable, kind of establishing themselves in the game. But yeah, certainly they have a pretty good mix of plays, but here comes the B-split.
It's coming in, but Arth is going to claim the first kill in his skirmish. Vinny through the site is going to wreak havoc, and Furia, this is looking all too easy. Other than that slight slip up on the site when they had a few SMGs, it's been pretty much cruise control.
Yeah, that is very true. Haven't even seen the AWP have to come out yet for Art. Just been focused on rifles across the board. They still even have an SMG in play on Yuri. Funny enough. Of course, he's up against fully head-armored players, so it's going to be hard to make much use of it, but still up close with the fire rate it has. He still might be able to tear through some wall. They do indeed get up close on connector, but Ethan will be finding Art there.
Two great picks right off the bat of the round, and Furia, after everything was going swimmingly, The sped up process from NRG has given them so much power in round 5. Breezy's going to find another one. CORSAIR on the dumpster has been placed firmly in it. And now Furia have Vinny and Able J, one of which is about to peek through short pipe. That's Vinny, and he will meet his demise to Ethan's hands. So Furia, and even though they have been winning rounds and looking pretty good, because they have been hemorrhaging a few players here and there, as a result, they're going to be a bit rough in the next round if they don't save this AK.
It's very, very, very true, Vince. Great entries there from Breezy and Ethan. Breezy is one of the best entry fraggers in North America, man. I mean, I know obviously people will point to people like Twist and Elige and things like that on Team Liquid. Certainly, they deserve their due credit, but I really feel like Breeze is getting there, man. He has been putting out great numbers for this NRG squad time and time again. Probably their best player, honestly. And I know a lot of people like to point to Cirque because of how flashy he can be with the AWP. Ethan, obviously also a very consistent rifler. But Breeze, man, he is so nuts. And I hope that he really turns it on this event, because if he can, NRG could certainly have a deep run here in Dallas. Signs have already been pointing in a positive direction based on the results they've had thus far with Tarek on the team.
Oh, sure. I feel like they've been a team for a while now that many people expect quite a lot from, and they haven't quite reached the expectations. I was thinking back on the likes of the London Major, right, where they go crashing out and they don't actually end up qualifying for it. They're a team that I think have perpetually underperformed the sort of level that you know they're capable of. Maybe this is DreamHack Masters Dallas. This is the moment where we really get to see what NRG have to offer with the likes of Tarek joining the roster.
Again, they've had lots of strong top 4 finishes already with Tarek on the team, particularly that Star Ladder, their debut event. They had some great games there, so certainly someone to keep an eye out for. Certainly, I think comfortably a top 10 team in the world. Not much going on this round, by the way. That's why we're kind of just talking through NRG's results and potential, because it's been quite slow and Furia have very little to work with, and NRG now starts pouring into being there, cleaning things up.
Pouring in and eroding away to be defenders, but CORSAIR and Able J are actually putting up a fight. They're actually putting some bullets down range with these pistols and landing headshots. Able J not far off another one, but Arts can only peek in and give his life away too. We are all even 3 apiece.
Rifles are going to be coming back out for Furia now, though, and this is where we should be able to see them challenge a little bit better. Art still not going to have the AWP, and they still keep having at least one guy on SMG every round, it feels like. Limited utility as well, to be fair, so they're certainly starting to suffer from this economic situation in a big way. Default opening from NRG, they rarely do this 3-1-1, to be fair. They like to focus more on short B control and using Ethan early on to help at A, but this is as traditional as it gets. Big kill from Art, though. Could upgrade his weapon.
Maybe a little bit apprehensive in case the second player is there, but now realizes that's not the case. He's going to be able to get away. Ethan's been wrecked in Monster. Art going to be able to finish him off.
Great team
Furia. Yeah, good team play, and it gives them a player advantage. Vinny and CORSAIR spray down onto long, and it's left to Cirque by his side, but not for much longer, as a bomb will get dropped and Furia regain the lead.
Ethan got so wrecked there, man. He was absolutely trapped, and he needed to be able to get away because they were folding elsewhere, particularly when Art got that kill on the connector. Ethan needs to be able to get to his team to assist. Breezy did well to get an entry on the bathrooms, but then that was really all they got out of that round. So great work from Furia. And now actually NRG the ones on the back foot here. They have a Tech 9 on Cirque and a Deagle on Ethan. Tarek with just the Galil. It's going to limit their firepower quite a bit.
No doubt they're going to be limping in this round, but Art's life has been deemed forfeit. Neither of the pistol players are in connector though, so they're not going to be able to get their hands on that just yet. Vinny, SG perched up on the sandbags over the smoke. Able to spray into Tarek, he's down to 14. Daps will eat quite a bit of damage though. Vinny doing a good job. Breezy catches Yuri going for the peak on long. So the player advantage firmly in favor of the NA squad. They surely going to capitalize on there.
You would think so, but there are still 2 Augs with head armor and kits available to play with, and they're actually both at B, where the bomb is seemingly going to be headed. The issue is Breezy. When he begins to find out that the A bomb site's wide open, A, they can either swing the bomb over and know exactly where the 2 remaining CTs are pretty much, or Breeze can flank them and still basically wreak havoc. So this should be a win-win for NRG no matter which direction they choose once Breezy pushes A deep enough.
30 seconds, going to start to pull a trigger now. Breezy's getting down into bank. We'll be wrapping behind Furia, as you highlighted. Rest of the team is just laid in wait. They know that Breezy's only a matter of seconds away from having impact. He's going to peek from heaven. He's going to find a couple of players, but Able J actually connects the headshot. And a second, what the hell is that flick? Able J is going massive. The Brazilian is beautifully besting NRG and connects the fourth. That is absolutely obscene.
I don't even know what to say there, Vince. I spelled it out, I thought, perfectly. It looked like NRG couldn't possibly lose that round. Not the way Breezy was positioned, but it's just something in Able J's brain just started to churn. He started to realize what could be happening, and he turned his attention to it. Breezy has 0 impact on the flank, and then the tides just come rolling in, man. What a play from Able J. He's not normally the flashiest of players on this team. Again, typically you look towards CORSAIR, Yuri, maybe Art's crazy aggression to be the big playmakers, but Able J, man oh man. 9 kills this game right now. He's leading his team with that play.
Sick awareness to check heaven. Ridiculous second or third kill onto that flick on the left side of pillar. That is such a ridiculous play, man.
I feel like we're getting so lucky with big plays on this stream, dude. Like the Nip and Tai Lu game was just chock full of them. And now we get that to open this map.
Wow. Well, NRG not only had to stew longer because of that tactical pause, but their economy is in tatters as well. And there's the peak from Art, just rubbing salt in the wounds. He's going to get a second as Cirque tries to desperately force his way out. I believe he just landed a flick leg shot as well. But to be fair to NRG, they have picked up 2 kills of their own, albeit both of them very low on HP.
And they have a 2-on-2 on the site. Vinny has not begun to rotate yet. He's still worried about Squeaky Door. So there's a world where NRG might be able to pull this off, but they're so low on health. It's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, you feel like they're just living on borrowed time. They are dead men walking. DAP 16, Ethan 49. He has already got himself a kill. He does have the AWP. Maybe if he can take that Able J, there's an inroad back in, but it's all about CORSAIR on the back of the site now. Can he return the favor? No. There will be no avenging clutch. It's 6-3 to the Brazilians.
NRG's rounds have been separated. They have not been able to streak much together. 3 in a row now for Furia. NRG finally back onto a bye, but it's crazy to think that we're 9 rounds into this game, in round 10, and we still haven't seen the AWP once for Cirque. And you have to wonder how much that's limiting those extra options for NRG to have him be able to create something. Art is now on his 2nd round of AWP. We haven't seen much opping at all other than that round, essentially. So that's a little bit of a thing to keep an eye on. In the meantime, we do see Tarek doubling up connector with that, so a little bit of an adjustment here as they want to try to attack a middle from multiple directions, maybe try to get an angle. Also, to be fair, Art has been just absolutely crushing them in connector more often than not, so I feel like they need that extra personnel just to ensure they can get control of connector to open other things up. That's the thing that Art does. Even if he's not creating numbers, the fear of him makes you commit extra resources to get that control.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he's done it in connector with rifles. He's done it with an MP9 as well.
Yep.
Like, you give him any gun, he's versatile, he'll adapt to the situation. Very good brain on those shoulders for Counter-Strike. Cirque darting back towards B side, gonna retrieve the bomb. It does seem as though B side is the one with a target painted on it for NRG. All 5 players congregating just outside. And we've seen them go for these before. Obviously, this is where Able J broke their hearts. CORSAIR smoke is actually not going to do any favors. It's a bit too forward. It's not going to stop the Molotov, so he has to vacate the area of barrels. But of course, Ethan still has to go and check this. Oh, the spray transfer from Ethan. Spinning on a dime to get 3. He is destroying every hope that Furia have of holding on to the site. What a passage of play from Ethan. Now Furia have to vacate the premises.
And Breezy's going to get counter boosted heaven to run down this AUG. The AWP of Art seems to be in safe position that won't get challenged, but Yuri may not be able to get this AUG out of here. He does take down Breezy, though. The initial threat's gone, and I think now things will settle down. But yeah, NRG, you know, while they do rely more on slow default play, they have a very deep playbook. Pet does his research. Daps, you know, very seasoned in-game leader. They definitely can throw in those different plays. And the crazy thing is now that Tarek's on this team, they just have the luxury of having so many players who create openings. Like, obviously, Cirque's op is there. Obviously, Breezy's entry fragging. But even though Ethan plays a lot of peripheral roles, the man is really good at creating openings. There was even some maps like Cash back in the day where he did do a bit of entry fragging. So the flexibility and what roles these players can play make them oh so dangerous. When you load up Tarek, Breezy, Ethan into a swarm of rifles going into a bomb site, they're going to find openings more often than not. And that's what happened there. That gets them right back in this game.
So, team as well, Dust, that, you know, they've had their upsets, they've had their moments of pure sadness as Art is going to be knocked down to 20. So you know they're not going to be hit off kilter at this start, that they know it's still relatively early days. They can still bring this back into a decent half. Especially with Furia's economy on the balance and taking so much damage right off the bat. It's not going to make things any better for the Brazilians.
I want the
triple kill
to get a kill, Vince.
Yuri with 2. They're going to line up for him. Going to flash himself back in again. Does more harm than good. He is going to lose his life, but he's already done his job. He can stand there proud and wait for the rest of his team to collect. Surely that double frag is enough.
That's so huge, too, because think about how many resources Furia were committing to a triple stack to watch short B. That means there's so much stress on Yuri to perform, and getting 2 kills is absolutely fantastic stuff. That gives his team a real shot, even with their limited resources, to steer this one back their direction. NRG were on the verge of tying this game up just based on the economic situation, but that play gives them new life. It's going to be on these 3 remaining NRG members with limited time and utility who are going to come into A against a really stout defense who are well positioned, including an op on CORSAIR.
Time itself becoming an enemy of NRG. 20 seconds to pull the trigger and make something happen. Bombs going in first. I mean, there's no time really to mess around any longer. Ethan's going to be planting amongst the smoke. Oh, the cheekiest of plants is actually paid off. And Daps holding the line, trying to be the bodyguard. 3 separate angles to watch out for. There's one, and a second 3 bullets to go. He has no idea who the last player is, in case CORSAIR is going to stop that clutch dead in his tracks. What an attempt by Daps and the cheeky plant, but Furia, they will get a 7-4 lead.
I started to believe, man. Daps was looking strong for that. Definitely a great attempt, and indeed sneaking that plant. Furia is thinking of pushing the smoke, thinking it's going to be default, and he sneaks one in. So that was definitely great stuff for their economy and almost a victory. But Furia is the one who really steals that away. They, again, did not have much to work with there. Big play from Yuri in the bathrooms to even set that one up. And then the rest of his team's able to take care of business. And now we see NRG taking a tactical. Finally, Cirque has an 8-up on the T side. It's not been there often. And so this might be where NRG does slow it down a bit. They do favor going for faster short B control with Tarek and Ethan. They do at times favor their B set pieces, but I think now this is where you try to let Cirque go to work. Maybe this is where you go for a more traditional default. But you could also let Cirque just try to work A with an op while you also simultaneously have Tarek and Ethan try to go for short B to open up even more options. So we'll see what NRG wants to do here. As they need some more rounds, man. This 4 is not enough.
Certainly isn't. They'll be aiming for 5 or 6 minimum. But again, the economy in the balance on Furia. 1 round could easily become 2 if NRG can make it click. Taking control of the connector again. They're respecting how Art has held that down. It's forcing grenades out. There's going to be a boost coming in as well. Ethan just poking over, looking towards the barrel, is going to reap the rewards. Able J has been pummeled down and dealt with. A heavy blow for Furia. They're going to have to trade out the 3rd player, or at least they were thinking about it, with Art coming down into heaven with his orb. And they're allowing this because Yuri's playing aggressive, because he's getting into playground, because he's on Fountain, and should get this kill that allows him to get that 3rd player in onto B and feel confident that A is not going to be aggressed on. But Dust, there is still a minute to play with.
Yeah, indeed, there's a lot of time, and he's not actually holding his ground long. He's falling back to the side, so he's getting up that intel. The problem is, dude, look at this. Look at Daps. He's on A site. If Yuri catches him, though, you feel like that's got to be the final nail in the coffin for this round. He'd be able to freely rotate. That's, if he can sneak in, though, could wreak absolute havoc in the back lines. And there's CORSAIR down. He'll pick up the AUG. This is going to probably be open. You have to feel it's going to get attacked from multiple angles at once. Unless Daps gets flanked.
You need a PhD to understand all the rotations he does. There's so much going on. It's so chaotic. Daps is still on A site. He's still round the back of Yuri. His head must be spinning. Straight up dizzy by how many rotations they're pulling off right now. They're pulling G's off this. But Fury's going to go on to Daps. 15 seconds to go. And it looks like that's going to be enough for Furia. What an odd round. But the Brazilians again come out triumphant.
It feels so anticlimactic. Like you're expecting something crazy for NRG to happen when Daps is able to cause a disturbance like that. But Furia keeps their wits about them and all of that chaos you described and still pull it out. Now 8-4. That's a couple of crazy rounds that Furia have been so clutch in. Maybe not in the idea of like 1v3ing, but just the decision-making in tense moments has really aided them. And they've gotten key kills when they've needed the most. I mean, it was a good start there, too, for NRG. They did run that short B control I was talking about. Ethan and Tarek got it. They got a pick. They had a 5-on-4, but it still unravels. And now they have very little to work with in this one. Have to do more with less vents, and they need rounds so desperately. They've never won more than 2 in a row.
Yeah, it's a really good point. They've not been able to connect the dots. They've not been able to get that consistency. In effect, Yuri with one. I thought he'd be fragged by Suk, who just seemed to walk straight past him. Well, whatever. It's pistols anyway. They did skimp out on a heavy investment, but they are going to have AKs now. And as we said, they need more rounds, Dust. They realistically need to win these next 2.
Trying to think what they could go for next. I mean, we've seen the default play. We've seen the short B control. We've seen the slow, methodical attempts. What we haven't really seen yet is a fast set B. They've done a couple, but usually late round. They could pick up the pace. They have plenty of mollies for barrels. You know, hold off short B, smokes for heaven, all the like. And they might be doing that. They have a couple connector and 3 outside B, so it seems like it's at least in the cards.
Tarek is just slowly coming out. The timing's not on favor of Furia. No one was watching Monster. That is unforgivable. They could still drag their way back into this round. They have Yuri and Art. Needed Vinny to get the upper hand onto Cirque on that trade on short. Smokes being deployed. This is NRG's chance. We've seen a couple of these slip through their fingers in rounds gone by. This has to be theirs. This is going to give them a chance on that second half. Art, though, waiting for the smoke to dwindle away so he can try and tee off with his AWP. NRG don't need to peek this. They can stay in their positions. They can remain static. Force Furia to aggress onto them, and in comes the flashbang. Allows Art not to shoot in midair, but to wait until his feet are firmly planted on the ground, leaving Breezy 1-on-2. We know he's great in the entry, but he can't hold off. And NRG have let another one go by. They've had so many chances, but Furia can have a 10-4 lead.
Furia are inevitable, it feels like, man. But if you're NRG, if you can't win that round, how are you ever supposed to win anything? Like, these rounds lately, they've had so many edges, whether it be man advantage, whether it be positional advantage because of how they're getting in the back lines of the A bombs. It's happened a couple of times where they were able to do that and not convert. They're going to go back and watch this demo and feel like they got robbed. Like, they should have easily had at least 7 this half, I feel like. I feel like they've really let a few go. One last ride, though, for NRG on the T side. It's a little bit barren because Ethan's just on a Galea, but still decent utility. Good entry from Breeze.
Thing is, they may have been robbed, but they've left the front door unlocked, open, a big sign saying, come steal all our stuff. It's all self-inflicted.
That's true.
Molotov down. Damage inflicted on both sides. Again, really anybody's. CORSAIR gonna smoke just to make sure they can't push through bathrooms. He does take nearly 60 health for his trouble, though. But again, lots of time to play with. NRG don't have to fully commit to this. They have connector control, or at least they should do momentarily if they decide to go for it.
And they have the time to really think things through. Plenty of utility to molly out bank, CT, get the smokes down they need to wall off and get this bomb down. So everything at their disposal, and CORSAIR's weakened. Past half health. But can they actually trade efficiently? This is the moments in rounds they've really broken down.
Flashbang, CORSAIR aggression counteracted instantly, courtesy of Ethan. They need to make the timing work here. Spray through the smokes, nearly going to yield a fragment to Tarek, who gets the bomb planted. How is he still alive? This man has just gone through most of his 9 lives. Ethan also able to scamper away. Able J gonna get one tap by Easter. That's a crispy shot to end things out, but it could have been so much better for NRG. 10-5. Yeah.
I feel like they easily should have had 7, man, but they finally find a bit of fortune in the end to at least find 5. It's Dustin, Vince, and when we come back, we'll be bringing the second half of our final best of 1 of the day, so stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Well, it was a really exciting half. Whichever way you want to break it down, NRG let some rounds pie, but you've got to give credit to Furia as well. Able J with a ridiculous play. Art was fantastic throughout, and it really does put us in a nice position for this second half, though, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what unfolds.
I am in the same boat as you, because it felt like even though the score is 10-5, which seems lopsided on the surface, it felt like so many of those rounds were up for grabs, and we could have easily had an 8-7 half. So still a pretty tight game when it comes to the mid-round situations, but now Furia will be on their attacking side. One thing at least it's good for NRG is Tarek fits nicely into Fudley's old role at the A bomb side, so they didn't really have to shift too many spots in their CT side on Overpass, so that may help them if they need a comeback. And well, there he is, the man himself.
Breezy aggressive through long. Gonna get the drop onto Able J. There's a second looking for more. CORSAIR and Yuri want no part of that. They're gonna dart away. With that long presence, they assume that there's gonna be multiple players on A site, leaving B fairly vulnerable. They are correct in that assumption, but enough time has elapsed that the B defenders can get in good positions. The cross has been spotted by Daps. It's going to allow the rest of NRG to flow into connector. Out they come. CORSAIR's Glock's there to deal with them, but it's going to be Tarek, who's starting off the round and will end it. NRG take the second pistol.
The Alpha and the Omega Vince. Gets the 3 kills. Gets them a little bit better on the scoreboard. And the start that NRG really needs to get back into this. Definitely helpful that they were able to get that. CT teams won both pistols in this. No T-side pistol victories, Vince.
There haven't been, no. And it is a map that certainly favors the CT side, but
sure.
Again, we were saying 4 rounds probably wouldn't be good enough. I think NRG now in good enough position. The bomb's gone out first. It's going to get sprayed down from Tarek. He wants to come alive on this half. Of course, it is against the Deco, so can't get too carried away. Orc has traded hands to Yuri, though. And you did say that you think he is a very impressive player. He's going to throw the Orc away. Very intelligent stuff. Knows his chances of clutching this round are very small. Wants to make sure that NRG can't get their hands back on that assault rifle. Nicely done. And they're looking for it now. You can see they're about to be disappointed. So, solid work, Yuri.
Yep, and the rifles are going to come out for Furia. Main pairing to look out for is Able J and Yuri, either the entry duo at A or also can be looking for early short B control. Art, again, watch out for him to just do these wild aggressive plays, sometimes by himself. He's always an X factor you have to be fearful of. He has that fur-like mentality, and he can be very successful at creating impacts.
He's read this situation so well. The Molotovs would be down to supplement a push through Fountain and Long. Does get one, but that's all. And that 1-for-1 trade allows NRG now to pull back onto the A side, into bathrooms, and feel pretty confident about things. And I have plenty of grenades to play on. But Vinny, how does Ethan get bested there, bro?
He got wrecked.
He was still looking at short pipe while the door was open. Just got annihilated, and now Furia have a clear path towards B site. The only thing that stands between them is Daps, and he's been dealt with comprehensively. Breezy, though, going to be thanking that smoke because it allows him to move closer to the site, allows him to try and pivot off. We've already seen the Org in this very position deliver so many kills, put so many players into body bags, but it's going to have to be Cirque that turns into the Undertaker for NRG. If they're going to clutch this round out, no nades, no chance. Vinny deals with him, and Furia off to a great start in this second half.
Man, we haven't got to say Vinny's name much really this game. He's been a little bit quiet, but he had a monster Rio tournament to help his team make the finals there. One of the solo side players for this team alongside CORSAIR playing the extremities, coming out connector there to sit the blinder on Ethan, who got caught with his pants down. Open up that B bomb site, and Furia take charge off of that and deliver around their first of the half. keeping the distance from NRG, who are hungry to make the comeback here. They're getting aggressive at the playground, but will be smoked off and forced to retreat.
NRG playing very low in terms of firepower needs. I mean, they do have some assault rifles, but you feel like this is such a weak foundation to build off. If a couple players die, that should be it, and that's exactly what's happened. Arta's got a decent return kill, +1 onto long. This is going to force Daps' hands to try and hold the site by himself, but they haven't really seen multiple players here, so they can't say 100% this isn't a hit. That's why these two B players are still staying in position. They're still looking for information for the rest of their team, but they're not going to find any. They're going to boost up, find nothing, and it doesn't really help their cause. Daps is in so much trouble once this smoke clears. There's going to be flashes, and there's going to be 4 terrorists pushing him down. He's going to back away into bank. It's a solid decision. This also buys up enough time for the rest of NRG to get close enough to have some kind of impact, but the only impact is their brains splattered on the wall as CORSAIR comes in with 2, and he'll have a plan. Daps can do nothing but watch, and he may even try and come back up again and see if he can get some cheeky shenanigans off, but it's done. This round should be all but over.
And so is their economy then. They're on a 2-round loss bonus next round. The highest money available is Breezy with 350. So that feels the need to go for it. Does find one. Art's low on HP. He does not have a kit though, or a smoke to defuse with. So now he is just forced to retreat, forcing a rebuy out of Furia, I guess. So it kind of keeps their economy a little bit more limited, but gonna be hard to punish that fact considering the NRG just don't have money to spend.
Yeah, that was always going to be the issue working against Daps in this potential retake. Like, no kit, no smoke, as you highlighted. And it's such a rough site to retake with 3 main angles to watch out for. You've also got short bathrooms and long. So, I mean, the chance of him clutching that was so minimal. Does keep the M4, though.
Yeah. Gives him one little piece of firepower to implement into this next round, but it's going to be hard to do much around it. Just USPs gathered around, trying to maybe just recycle the M4 as much as they can by bunching up together. Actually, they just had that soloing A while 4 USPs bunch up B. So, maybe not going to have any recycling available. That's why I always prefer to have the rifle with the pack in a situation like this, so you can keep it going. Otherwise, Dash just dies solo A, then that's your only gun gone.
Yeah, they're really hoping that Daps can pull off something truly mesmerizing, like a triple spray or something like that. They're going to be boosted up. Ethan has landed a kill into Arts, double dinks him. But this is really where the rifle would be fantastic to have in the back pocket for NRG. Abel does get dinked. He's going to have to skate on thin ice. I mean, to be fair to NRG, they very quickly got into position to fend this off, and I think at this stage, Furia realized, hold on a second, we don't have to go in for this. We've got time. Crazy. Was that a flashbang from the tees? Vinny just got destroyed by his own teammate's flashbang. That was over from short. That allows Breezy to get the kill. He's going to go down, though. Cirque only on 1 HP and Daps on 85. But now there's 30 seconds. Now they can't feasibly pull back. There is a couple of exquisite frags from Yuri. Furia 13-7. That was a very odd round, though.
It was a little bit scary. I'm sure a couple of beads of sweat rolled down the foreheads of Furia in that moment, but it never got too out of control. Now they're up 13-7. NRG back onto a full buy. No AWP for Cirque, but Augs aplenty. Also, no kits, Vince, so retaking going to be a bit more strenuous if it has to come into play. Have to work faster, or be more tempted to save rifles if it comes to that point, but still early days to be worried about that.
That's a good point, though. It could be in the back of their minds. If we do happen to lose a site, we're in trouble. That could force NRG into aggressive plays, could force them into mistakes, unforced errors.
Whoa!
Like that. Like Vinny aggressively catching Cirque. Pants down in bathrooms. Doesn't get more vulnerable than that. Vinny with a second onto Tarek. Now Art. And try and apply the pressure to a point that NRG cannot sustain. And, well, you did call it earlier. If it gets too bad, they're going to save. That's exactly what they've just decided.
Usually it's Art doing those crazy antics. It's Vinny this time just dancing through. Caught a sick timing. No way NRG could have expected it. Like you said, no more vulnerable situation than pants down in the bathroom. Especially when the lock on the stall doesn't work. It's always literally the worst.
That is certainly a yikes
I've
moment.
painted a grim picture, yeah.
And it's a pretty grim picture for NRG. They're going to be 14-7 behind. Economy still not in good shape.
Nope.
And 2 rounds shy of losing the map and going down to the lower brackets in a pretty stacked tournament. Ethan at least going to alleviate CORSAIR from the round. Does keep the 3 rifles ticking forward. I'm expecting them to force behind there. They don't really have much time to play with now.
Yeah, you absolutely must in this situation. FAMAS for Ethan. Cirque will probably have to armor SMG, maybe get dropped the rifle. Yeah, that's going to FAMAS out as well. Everything rides on this for NRG, man, because even after this, money still isn't going to be great. Yeah, that'll be max loss, but only Daps and Cirque will actually have much to spend. You need this to work.
It feels like Cirque has only had an AWP once or twice this entire game. I could be wrong,
I was about to say that, actually. You read my mind. To be fair, they just never had the economy in this half.
Yeah, but not even on the T side. Like, it's absolutely mad to think an AWP of the prowess that Cirque has. Like, the NRG are a team that like to prioritize AWP.
Dude, look at this, by the way. Look at this long A push. Furia is already almost at the site.
Jeez. They are already pushing out. They're getting to the bank truck already. Is Daps going to check this? He does, and I thought for a moment he'd get both kills. He had no right to do so. Yuri quickly pivots round and gets a second. Abel J not going to get the better of Cirque, who's going to keep the dream alive. But there is another player in the form of CORSAIR. You can see those 2 players pushing long, absolutely bamboozled NRG. They didn't know where the hell they stood.
That's 2 rounds in a row that's happened, by the way. Vinny did the same thing in the bathrooms last round. It's just like the speed at which Furia is hitting, NRG are just not ready for it.
Certainly seems that way. CORSAIR smoke onto bank. Cordoning off that area. Dumps has also been locked down with the smoke, and that's Vinny with the SG. Been very impressive in this game. Up to 15 frags. Pretty much everybody on Furia is relatively the same. They're all pulling their weight.
Absolutely. Yuri, CORSAIR are usually the front runners, but you've seen Vinny and Abel J have their moments. I think, what was it, the first half Abel J had a crazy quad kill on the B-bomb side or something like that, so they've definitely all pitched in. And look at this, what could be the final round. Cirque finally gets an op.
That's a feels bad.
It is.
Has it got an op? Yeah, we've 8 match points. Reasonable. Also, very few nades, 1 kit, couple players on MP9 and P250. Yeah, this not ideal, is it? But if there's a time for Cirque to show his ability with the AWP, it would be right here, right now. In clutch situations, the clutch moments when it really counts. It's all well and good battering players when your team is all firing on all cylinders and playing well. What about when your back's against the wall? Do you have the same impact then?
And Furia's going to change up the pace, Vince. They're not going default, not doing these, you know, fast things up long air battles. They're going to run it down the throat of the B-bomb site. Everyone gathered outside Monster, save for Abel J. Nades are going to come pouring in. They have the Molotovs to push Breezy off barrels and make this difficult on NRG to have safe spots to guard from. Also could just overwhelm them with sheer numbers, depending on where Ethan decides to finally place himself. Looks like he commits to B, so this could be the best defense NRG could hope for this B attack. And also, to be fair, Furia's kind of slowed it down. They've gotten control of short, but they haven't been committal. They have no presence A, though, so it feels like the safe thing is going to have to be to commit to B.
Yeah, now they're certainly committing. That's a lot of grenades tossed onto the site. Breezy, 67 health, loses a third. Just off the initial volley of grenades, and now the second volley will follow, and a cavalry charge behind it. Breezy able to get 1, but now it's switching firmly in Furia's favor, and Vinny just destroys 2. Cirque, last player, can get nothing done with the AWP barring 1 kill, and Furia finish it out in style, 16-7.
Vince, that was like deja vu of the first half. Rounds where you feel like NRG have all of the things lined up to win, but they still can't. They had 4 players on B and a flank through connector by the time Furia hit the site, and they still couldn't hold up a defense. That's just ludicrous, man. But what played by Furia. They have been really on the rise over this year and into late last year. It's been so fun to watch their journey, and now they get to move forward to the next round of the upper bracket to get played a little bit later on. So thanks again so much for all of you for tuning in. That's the end of the best of ones. We still have 2 best of 3s to go today. It's been a marathon for Vince and I over here. Appreciate you following up. Again, you can hit ! Casters in chat if you want to give us a follow, and we'll see you in about 20 minutes to bring you the first best of 3 of the lower bracket of Group A. So stay tuned. We'll be back.